He was a run-of-the-mill working-class man and became a symbol of Australia, an idol loved by millions. He got married when he was very young, but left his wife with a scandal for a younger woman. His movie character ended up overshadowing him. This is all about Paul Hogan, who is still Crocodile Dundee for many people.
Michael J. Crocodile Dundee.
Watch our video to learn more about his colorful life and how he scared a snake.
2:20. We better get started.
Crocodile Dundee. Where has Paul Hogan gone, and what happened to him?
G'day, mate. Nugget. Bet you got some good stories to tell, eh?
Have I ever, son? Have I ever? Let's go. Not on a dry throat.
Paul Hogan was born on October 8, 1993, in Lightning Ridge, a small town in northwestern New South Wales, Australia. This is what a lot of sources say, but it's not true, actually. Our hero who came up with this legend comes from Parramatta, Sydney, and has Irish heritage. He has a younger brother and an older sister. There's not a lot of information about his parents. His mother, Florence, was an introverted stay-at-home mom. His father, whose name is not mentioned anywhere, was in the army and went to war, and after that, he worked as a canteen store manager in the army. Paul went to primary and high school at Roman Catholic Parramatta Marist High School. After graduation, he moved to Granville, a suburb in western Sydney, where he was a worker on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. In 1958, when he was fairly young, Hogan got married to Nolene Edwards. In 4 years of marriage, the couple welcomed 3 sons. Their birth dates are not mentioned in any open sources except for the son, who was born in 1960, whom the parents named Brett. As you can see, Paul was pretty far from acting, but apparently he didn't see himself as a simple laborer. His co-workers were fond of his bubbly and outgoing personality and the ability to make people laugh. They encouraged Hogan to pursue a career in comedy, and he decided to follow his friend's advice. He went on to the Australian amateur talent show New Faces to give it a shot. This happened back in 1971, and it was Paul's first public appearance on TV. He came up with his routine the day before filming. It was tap dancing and knife throwing. The cocky and resourceful young man made judges laugh not only with his performance, but also with the smart jokes about the jury. The audience was roaring, so he was asked to come to the show several more times. The comedic talent of our hero caught the attention of Mike Willisi, the host of the news program A Current Affair. He offered Hogan to become a regular feature on the project. His task was to put a humorous spin on current events. In the meantime, he became friends with the show producer John Cornell, who became Paul's manager and business partner. Coming to TV was a turning point in the life of our hero. In 1973, he started his own project, the comedy sketch show titled The Paul Hogan Show. The aspiring comedian produced and wrote for his pet project. He also portrayed the characters with John Cornell and the Australian actress Delvine Delaney. The same year, Hogan won the prestigious Logie TV Award for Best New Talent. His TV show, which had 60 episodes, aired until 1984 and was popular in the UK and in South Africa. The Australian talent had another thing going for him in the 70s. He was the face of the Winfield cigarettes, appearing in the ads in a classic tuxedo. In the early 80s, Paul filmed a series of TV spots to promote the Australian tourism industry that were shown in the US. Before the ad campaign aired, Australia occupied the 78th position on the most desired holiday list for Americans. 3 months later, it skyrocketed to number 7. And Paul appeared on British television in funny commercials for Foster's Lager beer for 10 years. In 1981, the Hogan-Edwards couple announced their split. The woman hated her husband's jokes and his new lifestyle. She made scenes out of jealousy, and he barely showed up at home. The artist spent several months enjoying the single life, but less than a year after they got a divorce, the ex-spouses tied the knot again. The couple lived in harmony for several more years, and they had 2 more children. In 1985, Hogan appeared as an Australian World War I digger in the miniseries Anzacs that was broadcast by a local TV channel. That same year, he was awarded Australian of the Year. In 1986, the iconic comedy action movie Crocodile Dundee came out.
And your wallet.
Vic, give him your wallet.
What for?
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Peter Feynman directed the motion picture, and Paul got the titular role of the hunter Mick Dundee. The actor was also the executive producer of the movie and one of the screenwriters, spending 3 weeks on the script. Most of the filming crew had worked with him before on TV, and the result of their collaboration turned out to be outstanding. The movie was a box office hit in many countries. It grossed $330 million at the box office, becoming one of the most successful Australian movie projects. The movie became the second highest grossing movie of the year at the world box office. It got outshone only by the action movie Top Gun, starring Tom Cruise. Hogan reportedly had 60% of the movie revenue. There is an Australian and an American versions of the movie. The latter uses more mainstream phrases instead of the Australian vernacular. It's also a bit shorter because they cut some scenes. In the American box office, the word crocodile was in quotes so that the audience didn't think that Dundee was a real crocodile. Interestingly, the pub that Mick Dundee frequents is real, and it was put on sale in 2010. And the wild water buffalo that the main hero tames in one of the scenes was tranquilized as a safety precaution. As they started filming Crocodile Dundee, the perfect marriage of our hero cracked. Hogan fell in love with his young co-star Linda Kozlowski, who played the role of Sue Charlton, even though they started off on the wrong foot. Linda even complained to the producer about her moody co-star. But one night, they were sitting by the fire and started talking. Soon, they realized they were in love with each other. His marriage didn't stand a chance against the passionate affair. In 1986, Paul filed for divorce with Nolene, and there was a lot of dirty laundry aired out during the process. Later, journalists would call their scandalous divorce one of the nastiest in the history of star couples, as the hurt woman said a lot of terrible things about her husband and his new lover. After Hogan's betrayal, Edwards didn't talk to him for 16 years. In the meantime, media all over the world were talking about the artist, but it wasn't only for the divorce. He was inducted into the Order of Australia for service to tourism and entertainment. Paul admitted that he enjoyed being a part of the entertainment industry, even though he called himself the laziest person in the business. In 1987, the Australian actor was nominated for the BAFTA Awards and won a Golden Globe for the role of Mick Dundee, while the script received BAFTA, Saturn, and Oscar nominations. By the way, Hogan co-hosted the 59th Academy Awards with his American colleagues Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn. The next year, he reprised his role in the sequel Crocodile Dundee 2, directed by his friend and business partner John Cornell.
What are your chances of getting out of here with that jacket on?
Better than average.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Just like before, Paul was also the co-writer and co-executive producer. With a start budget of $9 million, the movie grossed around $240 million at the worldwide box office. The movie earned $24.4 million on its opening weekend, setting a new record in the history of cinema at the time. Paul explained the popularity of the movie with the fact that there were no explicit or violent scenes. The viewers were interested solely in the adventure love story of the curious journalist and the eccentric crocodile hunter. Since they filmed the sequel in the US, American producers who spotted the performance of the talented actor started inviting Hogan to come on board of Hollywood projects. Soon, he was offered a role in the mystical movie Ghost, but he declined it to star in the comedy movie Almost an Angel.
Holy water, right? This proves I'm not a vampire.
Did you think you were, my son?
Oh, no, I saw that holy water trick on Son of Dracula. No, I've got a real life problem.
Paul got the leading role and John Cornell was the director. By the way, apart from acting, Paul showcased his skills as a writer and executive producer of the film project. His lover, Linda Kozlowski, who became his lawful wife in 1990, also appeared in the project. The plot revolves around the life of a professional burglar named Derry Dean, who got an opportunity to redeem his sins by working as a guardian angel. The movie was criticized for having a weak plot and romantic naivety, so Hogan stopped working with Cornell and went on to co-produce, write for, and star in the Western comedy movie Lightning Jack by Simon Windsor.
Dean is of medium height and build, with a mean, weathered face, and has an English accent.
English?
Yes, sir.
I don't speak English.
No?
I'm a bloody Australian.
Oh.
Although the 1994 movie found its fans, Paul thought it was a flop. In 1996, he appeared in the remake of the 1963 family adventure movie Flipper.
I am by nature gentle soul. However, I can crush a coconut. with my bare hands. I want you to hold that thought as we make our eggs with dignity.
2 years later, he and Linda welcomed their first child together, son Chance. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Paul appeared in a commercial for Subaru Outback, and the company gave him the car as a gift for starring in the video. In 2001, the actor revisited his breakthrough role in the movie Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, in which his character drives the same Subaru that Hogan so actively advertised. He was happy to contribute to the writing of the script and producing the third part of the iconic comedy movie.
It's Mikey. What's yours?
Hey, Mike, I'm Mike.
Oh, hi, Mike. I'm Mick. Mikey's dad.
Mikey, Mick, Mike. You gotta be kidding me, right?
No.
Okay.
The motion picture couldn't replicate the success of the prequels. With a budget of $25 million, it grossed only $39 million at the box office and received a Golden Raspberry nomination in the category Worst Remake or Sequel. In 2004, Paul appeared in the Australian comedy film Strange Bedfellows that tells the story about two firemen who pretend to be gay to make some money.
Mate, if I could get those same tax breaks for the last 5 years, I could write off so much tax I'd be laughing.
But how can we do that?
Oh, it's simple. We just become gay.
The next year, our hero moved to Los Angeles with his second family. In 2008, Hogan went through an unpleasant experience. He was charged with tax evasion. However, he was able to win the first lawsuit against the Australian Taxation Office. But several months later, he faced charges again after a follow-up investigation. The next year, he was cast in the comedy drama about traveling across Australia, Charlie and Boots. The movie became the second highest grossing movie of the year in Australia and was dedicated to the victims of the bushfires.
I've been thinking about buying old Tommy Noonan's farm. Of course, I'd need someone to help me.
When Paul arrived in Australia for his mother's funeral on August 20, 2010, he wasn't allowed to leave the country until he paid a $37.5 million tax bill. 6 years later, a source told the press that the actor paid $10 million to settle the financial conflict, but Hogan denied it. In the early 2010s, he toured with some stand-up comedy across his mother country. Some of that material was shown in the 2014 documentary Hanging with Hogs. By the way, Hogs is a nickname that people in Australia love to use to refer to our hero. In 2013, Paul's wife Linda announced she wanted to separate from him. She mentioned irreconcilable differences and the desire to enjoy her life as the reasons for filing for divorce. The actress sued her ex-husband for $7 million and got her maiden name back because she didn't want to be associated with Hogan. Later on, she confessed that it was hard living in the shadow of her famous spouse, and on top of that, they had nothing in common. In April, Paul Hogan's name appeared in tabloids once again. This time, the actor was suing the Swiss bank corner, claiming that the financial facility let one of their ex-financial consultants get away with more than $32 million. He demanded a compensation of $80 million. Authorities issued an international arrest warrant for the fraud tax advisor named Philip Eglishaw. It was later reported that the Crocodile Dundee star got his money back during a settlement, but apparently the man was still arrested in Italy in 2017. In 2014, the Hogan-Kozlowski couple finalized the divorce. However, the press said that the ex-spouses remained on good terms. By the way, when the actor got older, he looked back at his failed relationships and shared that he wasn't a good partner and husband. In the meantime, the local television network requested a TV miniseries based on the life of our hero titled Hogs, the Paul Hogan Story. It aired in February 2017. Hogan was portrayed by the Australian actor Josh Lawson. The following year, the viewers saw the trailer for the motion picture Dundee, the Son of a Legend Returns Home, which featured not only our hero, but his colleagues as well, Margot Robbie, Chris Hemsworth, Russell Crowe, and others. The plot is built around Dundee's son, who goes back to Australia to find his legendary father. The internet was instantly raving, but soon they calmed down as it turned out to be just an advertisement to attract tourists to Australia. By the way, they spent $27 million on the ad campaign, and it got great exposure because it aired during the Super Bowl. In 2019, Paul celebrated his 80th birthday, which Australian TV decided to mark with a series of programs about his life. In 2020, he reunited with the Paul Hogan Show co-stars in a hilarious beer commercial. The video shows a sketch from the popular show where Hogs and his buddy, Strop, tried to make their famous hangover cure. The commercial promoted new beer and Hotel Brunswick. Profits from the sales went towards bushfire relief and to charity organizations protecting wildlife and the environment. In July of the same year, the streaming platform Amazon Prime Video released the comedy The Very Excellent Mr. Dundee.
Judio. I wanted Will Smith to play Dundee Jr.
Will Smith?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
I'll play Dundee.
Dean Murphy, with whom Hogan often collaborates, directed the movie, and Paul starred as himself. The movie opens with a scene of a teacher and some students thinking that Hogan is actually McDundee, so they asked him to help clear a snake out of the hiking path. Fun fact, the scene was mainly inspired by real life. One time, the artist was hiking in Franklin Canyon in Los Angeles. Suddenly, two women jumped at him from the bushes, and one of them exclaimed, "Thank God it's you, you're Crocodile Dundee." Before Paul had a chance to explain that he wasn't actually Dundee, the woman said that she and her friend were very lucky to stumble across him, as there was the biggest rattlesnake she had ever seen lying on the path. The artist simply answered, "I'll have a look," but when he came to the place, the snake had already gone. Probably got scared when it heard the name of Crocodile Dundee.
And yet she thought you were the real Crocodile Dundee.
He probably would have eaten it.
Oh, I hardly have any...
In an interview, Paul said that the tourism people did research in 10 different countries, and one of the questions was, "Who do you know from Australia?" 8 people out of 10 said McDundee. He thought it was pretty funny. Well, I must have made a convincing character, cause he's still famous and I'm not. He had my sense of humor and my attitude towards life, but he's not me. The artist commented on his phenomenon. As far as we know, the celebrity has 6 kids, sons Scott, Brett, Todd, Clay, and daughter Lauren, with his first wife Nolene and son Chance with his second wife Linda. Scott and Brett got their passion for the entertainment industry from his father and decided to pursue acting careers, appearing in several movies. The rest of the kids live a simple, low-key life. As for his youngest offspring, he's known for being rather wild and being a pain in the neck for the old comedian. The son lives with his father in Los Angeles. He often gets in trouble and is often seen drunk. In an interview, Paul shared that he had 10 grown-up grandkids, but he's the only family Chance had. In 2022, Hogan shared that he wasn't feeling so well and that he wanted to go back home to Australia to spend some time with his family. The artist had kidney problems and the treatment took a toll on his muscles, so now he's so weak that he can't even open a jar. The actor, who received a pacemaker, described his state as held together by string. He's on a high-fat diet, but he can't gain weight because of the meds he takes. He says that he was in great shape in the 70s, but after he turned 80, he started to fall apart. At the end of last year, the media started saying that Hogan was feeling way better. He was spotted in Australia at an event hosted by his friend, ex-minister and politician John Brown, who was celebrating the launch of his autobiography. Throughout his whole career, our hero has been actively supporting charities, including various environmental initiatives and cancer research. The net worth of the Australian movie star is estimated at $20 million. At different stages of his life, the actor invested in real estate. We know about a couple of his properties. In July 2012, Paul and Linda paid $3.8 million for a house in Malibu, in the famous Point Dume area. The contemporary interior is made in white and beige colors with black accents. There are 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, a kitchen with marble floors, a living room with a fireplace, and an open gallery with a gorgeous view. In 2014, Hogan sold his mansion to his fellow Aussie actor Chris Hemsworth for $4.8 million, although initially he was asking for $6.5 million. He also has a mansion in Los Angeles worth $3.5 million. The house is located in Venice Beach, a neighborhood that used to be considered high class, but now it's been taken over by homeless people. This led to hundreds of tents appearing along the beach boardwalk and a spurt in criminal activities. Locals are afraid to leave their houses after dark because they can be attacked or threatened. In 2021, homeless people set up a random camp not far from the celebrity's home, which he wasn't particularly happy about. He left them a note saying, "This is my house, not yours." He has another house in Santa Barbara, California. There is a swimming pool, beautiful lawns and fruit gardens, and a tennis court on the premises of the 4,300 square foot Victorian farmhouse. This is a perfect place to lead a luxurious and quiet life. The actor has a black 4-wheel drive that he takes when he has some errands to run in the neighborhood. He used to love playing cricket with his friends. Granted, they preferred to have a drink before the game instead of after it, which is a more conventional approach. The celebrity thought it made the game more interesting. Wherever Paul Hogan appeared, be it his iconic role as Crocodile Dundee or one of the many comedy shows, he would always charm the audience with his wit and charisma. Looking back at his life, the star says that it gave him a lot. He got to experience so many wonderful things that he didn't think he deserved. One time, he revealed the secret to his success. bite more than you can chew and chew as fast as you can. And he never wanted to be an actor for hire and depend on movie studios. That's why he didn't appear in a lot of projects and chose only those movies that he enjoyed.
All right.
What about you? Are you a longtime fan of Paul Hogan, or are you only discovering his art? Let us know in the comments below.